Yeah, guys, Myles Garrett set some records yesterday, but before we get to that, did you guys know that Rocket Money can help you find any subscriptions that you forgot about that you were paying or that you were paying for twice? It's definitely happened to me, and I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and helps you lower your bills so that you can grow your savings. Brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or goals that you want to hit this year. The New Year's is right around the corner. Rocket Money has over 500 million users and has saved them about $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members on average about $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon.
Well, there's one guy who we know is a bona fide ball player, Myles Garrett. He dominated again. He's been in the news for saying that he needs a plan. He's been in the news prior to this game talking about how, hey, listen, we need to figure out what we got a quarterback. We need to figure out what they're going to present because I want to win today. And the effort that he put out there yesterday was a winning effort. You look at what he did, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 4 tackles, 2 quarterback hits. He was unblockable again. Guys, when you look at Myles Garrett and his performance, do you think there's anything short of saying like, hey, this is what you are missing when you talk about trading the guy? Did he come out and show you this is why he's important and why this guy is probably the linchpin to your squad?
I mean, we knew that though. We know how important he is. We know how good of a talent this guy, great of a talent this guy is. And so for him to do what he did yesterday, not surprising. For him to have 14 sacks, not surprising. He's special. He's ridiculous. But, and it's a big but, unfortunately, you can lose 20-3.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
and have those great numbers. And that tells you all you need to know about how important he can be on a team that is headed somewhere. This team's headed nowhere.
Yeah.
If this guy were on the Buffalo Bills or the Detroit Lions or, I mean, the Baltimore Ravens. Oh, my God. Can you imagine the Ravens with Myles Garrett?
Come on. That's scary.
I mean, it'd be off the charts. But no, I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, he's a huge asset for the team. And the Browns are not going to get better anytime soon, probably, unless they move on from him.
Earl, this is devastating. You think about this. He's the first player in NFL history, 14 sacks plus for 4 straight years. Mm-hmm. And look at the team record during that time period, right? Look at what they did last night. He dominated that game against the Dolphins. Couldn't block him. But you got 3 points. So if you got a guy like Myles Garrett, who is dominant and is one of the most game-wrecking defensive players in the game and is a walking Hall of Famer, is it a little bit demoralizing to know that even though he's that good, you're not going anywhere if you don't have a quarterback?
It's demoralizing, but I think the joke is on everybody else for not reading the room, right? Like, I always go back to something I heard Jim Brown say a long time ago, that in football you need all 11 parts on that side of the ball moving in the same direction to have success. So no matter how good, no matter how dominant Myles Garrett is, if everybody else is not moving in that same direction or putting out that same, production, then you're never going to have the success that you desire for. No matter how good we talk about short scheme being or, trying to improve the roster around Myles Garrett, you look up every single year and he the only one on that defensive line that got over 5 sacks, right? And so that tells you that you need to get better talent and you need to probably get better coaches that can get more production out of this talent. When you look on the other side of the ball, if you don't have a quarterback, you're really not going anywhere, right? Because football, you need all parts moving in the same direction, but the quarterback position is the most important piece on the chessboard for an NFL team. Not only do they not have that right, but they don't even have the other pieces together. And so it is demoralizing. But I got to give him this kudos because even in a down season like this, he still put forth the effort every single week to go out there and to be the best version of himself. And for him to be having this type of season when the Cleveland Browns didn't meet expectations coming off a Defensive Player of the Year award, like it says a lot about his character and how seriously he takes his craft. The 14 sacks in 4 years, that's crazy. But like yesterday was also the 21st game of his career that he had 2+ sacks, and that's 4 games this season that he's done so. And that's through injuries, that's through everything else. Like, unless Myles say, trade me, I'm not trading Myles Garrett. I'm just not doing it. And I get the return on investment. I get how, what you can do to rebuild this team. But he would have to come to me and say, you have to trade me. I'm not willingly just trading Myles Garrett just because.
It's just funny to me. You look at some of the best defensive ends in football, and like the guys that are the dominant pass rushers, there's not really many on great teams, like teams that are actually going to win much. I mean, Pittsburgh's got Watt, but I don't think they're going to do much in the playoffs because they're limited at quarterback. The Browns have Myles Garrett, right, and they're doing nothing. Max Crosby's on the Raiders. He's hurt, and they're not doing anything, right?
Cowboys, Mike
Parsons. Bosa's on the Niners. They're probably not doing a darn thing. Josh Allen's on the Jaguars, nothing. I'm just going through some of the list. Daniel Hunter, Trey Hendrickson, nothing. Aiden Hutchinson, Lions, sure, there you go. But the point is, the Browns aren't ready to have an elite pass rusher.
Yeah.
Because what's it do for them? Right now, we're just enjoying having a great player. It's like, okay, would you feel any different today? The score could be the same, and Myles Garrett could have been on a different team yesterday.
Very true.
It highlights the fact that you kind of have to have the meal come together all at once, right? It kind of feels the same way with Joe Bitonio. Like, the Browns had an elite rushing attack like 2 years ago. They had a prime Nick Chubb. They had Bitonio. They had Teller. They had the nucleus, and they were able to do some things with quarterbacks that were lesser because you always knew you can hang your hat on just running the football and bullying people. Well, now all that bullying takes a toll on your body. Joe Bitonio's a little older, and those guys are older. When you think about it, it seems like the team was in that prime window. When you look at 2020, 2021, in that area, you look like you were at your sweet spot for the offensive line. You were at your sweet spot because you thought you had your quarterback. You had Myles Garrett. And when you miss that window, it's something we don't never really think about it until it happens. But when you miss that window, it's like you don't know it until like it's done. It's like
they say sometimes the consequences of your actions don't really show themselves until years later, and that's what the situation is with the Browns. Like G described them as lesser than quarterbacks. Like, what if they wasn't lesser than? What if they was the right quarterbacks for the right situation? You used the analogy of a toxic relationship earlier. I look at the Browns to where you had a really good thing, and there's nothing wrong with looking to see how you can get better and how you can improve. But sometimes, man, when you got a good thing and you looking out on social media, and you seeing all the pretty girls and what everybody else is doing, all of a sudden, for whatever reason, what you got don't look as good. And then you go out here and test the market, and you realize you probably should have stayed where the hell you was at, right? And that's what the Browns found themselves in. They tried to get better. They thought better was out there for them because things went shaky with Baker, instead of just trying to fix that relationship and move forward and build this team up.
Do you think Joe Bitonio is a guy? Is this situation a little bit different than Myles Garrett? I think Joel is at the end of his career. I look at it as a situation where it may not be as a bigger point to prove for the Browns organization, because you're looking at it. It's like, okay, Joe. You've taken a couple steps back. I would have liked to have Joe Bitonio back at the right price, at the right circumstance. Do you think his circumstance is different from Myles Garrett, where the Browns really might have to put a plan together for Myles Garrett? But Joel, it's like, if you come back, you come back. If you don't, you don't.
I think you said it best. Yeah, that's the situation that I think that Bitonio's in. He's past his prime. He's been a hell of a player in this league. One of the best guards in football. One of the best guards probably to ever play for the Cleveland Browns. As far as next year goes, I think it's up to the Browns and up to Bitonio what he wants to do. I think he still can play at a high level. He's someone that I would love to have around the building. He certainly is a guy who's a good team guy, leader, all those things that you want out of a veteran player. And our offensive line certainly can use those veterans to keep, because obviously they're going to be younger because they don't have a left tackle yet, so they could use some veterans on that line. So yeah, I think you described it best. If it depends on the organization, also depends on what he wants to do. Yeah. So I mean, obviously, two veteran players, two great players, two different scenarios.
So I'm looking at Spotrac right now, and according to this, Batonio has a $14 million cap hit for 2025. I mean, I look at the Batonio situation, great player, but his body is breaking down, right? And, you know, I've never played football at that high of a level, but I would assume that it's harder and harder to get yourself up for OTAs and training camp, to get yourself prepared to go through that all over again, especially when you're playing for a team that you love, but you know is going nowhere fast. And for him, I think he has a lot to consider. I mean, he's 34 years old. I'm 37. I don't have the issues with my body that he has. And so he should be thinking about his family. He's made his money. He should be thinking long term past football. Now, if he was to retire and come back and wanted to be the Browns offensive line coach, run it. Seriously, run it. I'm for it, because anytime that you can have him still, a guy like that, still a part of your organization, even if he's not on the playing field, then that's still a win. You know what I mean? On the other side of it, this is what's his name? Zenter. This is why you drafted him last year, right? Because you knew that eventually you would have to replace one of these guards, and the time is now.